Good evening, sim racing fans across the globe, and we count you down. It's the penultimate race for the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series here tonight on LSRTV, round 9 of 10, and we're going to get to it by welcoming you into tonight's Inside Sim Racing broadcast tower to the Windy City, Chicagoland Speedway, just outside of Chicago, Illinois. And Jacob Seelman alongside Andy Kessler and Gabe Wood in the broadcast booth as we get set to rock and roll. Qualifying underway for tonight's event here at the mile and a half, and a tricky mile and a half at Chicagoland that these drivers are going to have to deal with tonight for just under 200 miles, 125 laps on tap this evening. Looking like a field of 36 drivers getting ready to come and dance tonight. And Andy, as we get set to kick things off, this is one of the more, I guess you'd call it, unusual mile and a half racetracks. The distinctive feature at Chicagoland, you never truly stop turning.
Yeah, that is one of the special features, I guess you can say, that they have here. As soon as you come off turn 4, you're constantly turning on the front stretch, and then, of course, the back stretch has that unique small angle to it in the back. And you know what, and this place also lends to some good races, some good side-by-side racing. The tires give up. These guys will be searching for grip all over the racetrack. We're in for a good treat, I think, and with 36 cars in the field, that just makes it that much more fun. And you know, for the championship battle that we got going on, which we'll talk about in a moment, that's also something that could play havoc to a lot of these guys with the car count being so high. Any trouble for our points leaders, and those guys are going to have a lot of ground to make up with only one to go.
Gabe, we don't get you for a lot of these RSR races, but, you know, definitely we talk about the players from Boomtown Sim and Steel Horse Racing, and I think there's no question we're seeing some of that again tonight. 3 Boomtown cars inside the top 6. You've got Dan Murray and Scott Eckridge up inside the top 7 for Steel Horse, and it looks like as we start to count down just a couple weeks now before we get back for the Full Throttle Cup Series here in just a couple of weeks. We're counting down to that, and it seems like the old rivalry between these two teams is starting to heat up yet again.
Well, you know what, Jason, Jacob, sorry, excuse me, yeah, I'm not in this broadcast booth a lot, and it shows, but the one thing, you know, these two teams, they have a huge rivalry, and they deserve it because they are two of the hardest working teams. You talked about a few of the Steel Horse guys. Scott Eckridge, he just came off a win in the USR Truck Series, so he's hot on the heels of a winning streak right now, a one-race winning streak basically, but he's got the momentums, and he's qualified 4th right now on the board, so look for Scott Eckridge. He's part of that Steel Horse guys, and he wants to break up that Boomtown fight with Anthony DeBarra on the pole.
Gabe, take $5 from your wallet and put it in the jar by the door before you leave tonight.
It's going to PayPal, don't worry.
All right, Andy, we get set to, we've got 6 minutes left in qualifying, and the biggest story, I think, of this whole season has been Daniel Eberhardt. Across both these B cars, these Xfinity cars in the Icebreaker Series, and even on Wednesday nights in the Outlaw Trucks, it doesn't get much better than what this young rookie has done over the past 9 weeks of competition here during the winter. He's been unbelievable, gotten wins in both series and contending for championships in both series. So the question is, he's good on...
Ed Eberhardt has just pretty much made a name for himself this winter series, both in the Xfinity cars and in the trucks. And I'm looking forward to really seeing in a couple of weeks what he can do or start doing in a Full Throttle Cup.
Tracks, does he do it tonight?
This is definitely one of those tracks we could see him do it at. He was very strong at Atlanta a few weeks ago, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him here. This is pretty similar to Atlanta, but he's done a great job all season long in both of these series. Like you said, wins in both of them. He's led tons and tons of laps in both series. He's definitely been real consistent, and he's been contending for these wins, even if he doesn't get them week in and week out. And just to say that, he's already qualified 4th for tonight's race. So Daniel Eberhardt has definitely made a name for himself, and I expect big things out of this kid coming up in the Cup Series.
Yeah, how about Eckridge taking a lap and moving up just ahead of him by 1,000th of a second? Scott Eckridge goes to 3rd on the board with about 4 minutes and 15 seconds left to go in this open qualifier. EJ O'Rourke, too, being the points leader, Andy, coming into this race, he needs to have a good night. The problem is he doesn't want to be mired too far back in traffic, and he's 10th on the board right now. So you got to wonder, can he hold it together? It's a very slim margin that he's got in the championship for these final 2 races. The road to the title has been over the past 8 weeks, but it really heats up tonight, and I'm just not convinced that the 93 can do it.
Well, he definitely has his work cut out for him because he's got a wily veteran that's got tons and tons of wins here at RSR. Chad Cole breathing down his neck. Chad Cole's basically led the points for the majority of the season. I think he lost it 2 weeks ago when he had a horrible finish at Daytona. But other than that, Chad Cole has been one of those guys to watch out for. He's got a win on the season. He's only 5 points back. That means a lot. With a big, like I said earlier, with a large car count like we have here tonight. One mistake by either one of those guys can really put them out of contention with only 1 week to go next week.
A lot of momentum in the Agus Motorsports camp, too, Gabe. You talk about Tyler Herr, who won in this series in RSR last week on Monday night and moved up to 4th in the point standings as a result. And Stephanie Lessentine getting a win in the Rod Car Truck Series as well. It's been very, very good times in that whole stable. And you got to wonder, I mean, we talk about Stephanie. She's been so close in RSR a couple of times. And that breakthrough, you wonder if it's not going to come here in the next couple of weeks because she's had some speed.
Yeah, she's had some speed, but it's been inconsistent speed. We saw her at Indianapolis having a good run, but she got mired back in traffic and then got in that big wreck. And then a couple more times, the same situation. But to go to Tyler had a great run at Auto Club, and I'm so proud of him. I've known him for such a long time, and for him to get that first win, especially for Agus Motorsports, their inaugural win in RSR, such great times for that camp.
Andy, I'll go back to you and look at the points picture one more time. 33 out with 2 races to go wouldn't seem realistic for all of the top 3 to have issues. But does Tyler Herr stay in the top 5 in points and really make a statement before we close this icebreaker season?
I really think he does. He's been very good over the past few weeks, and he's got 4 top 10s so far this season in the 8 starts, including that win obviously last week. And I think he's been really, really consistent. He's averaging a finish in around 12. He's started way in the back and able to finish up there near the top 10 week in and week out. So I really think he can do it. He's got a couple guys obviously real close in the points behind him, Rhett McBride and David Comstock, a couple guys that obviously veterans to RSR. They're gonna obviously give him trouble in a fight for his money to stay in that top 5. But I really think that with the momentum that he had, that he'll get it done.
All right, let's kick things off tonight. And before we do that, we're going to go trackside for tonight's opening ceremonies and the national anthem. We bring you back topside, and time to take a look at the Hippies Paint Shop starting grid here for tonight's running at Chicagoland Speedway, the penultimate race of the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series. And we're going to go down the grid. Andy Kessler on the pole in one of those Boomtown Sim Chevrolet Camaros. Anthony DeBarro going to be led to the green alongside that number 90, the rapid rookie Daniel Eberhardt, starting tonight from P2.
Row number 2 on the inside is going to have the 69 of William Amaker. Scott Eckridge in the 70 will start 4th.
Jack Holm at number 8, coming off a win in the the Outlaw Truck Series. He's going to start in the last place in the 5th position. David Comstock in the 14 starts 6th.
Mitch Rollo, one of the other Boomtown Sim cars, going to roll 7th alongside his teammate Corbin Himstreet, rolling from 8th tonight.
The 9th starting spot tonight goes to the number 5 of Dan Murray, while the veteran and our RSR Cup Series champion Dwayne Vincent starts 10th.
11th place goes to Matt Lacrosse, and right outside of him, the points leader in the Winter Series right now is E.J. O'Rourke in the 93.
Jonathan Cadell, Steel Horse Toyota, rolls from 13th. Jimmy North starts 14th.
Row number 8 on the inside is going to be Rhett McBride with Mike Rominger to his outside.
Couple of big teams. Christopher Hurlow, that Boomtown machine, starts 17th. Aegis Motorsports, Brian Terry starts 18th.
You're going to see William Hartman and Adam Benefiel round out the top 20. Benefiel in one of his final couple of races before his Real Sim Racing retirement going to happen here in just about a week or so. And as the rest of the starting grid rolls on your screen, we're going to catch up with one of our points contenders as tonight's in-race reporter. And Andy Kessler, let's see if we can't dial up Matt Lacrosse, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that right now. Matt Lacrosse, this is Andy and Jacob up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, we're getting set for 125 laps here at Chicagoland Speedway. Tires obviously going to become a factor in this race. How do you guys figure starting in that 11th spot? What's your strategy to get up to the front here early on?
Well, I'm going to just be patient and wait for all the people who aren't patient to burn their stuff up. And I'm slowly getting better at saving my tires, so I don't know. I'm in here talking with Chad and EJ, so maybe we'll all just talk to each other and get some tips for each other and make sure that it's us three that has a chance to win the championship next week.
Well, we'll let you get to it, Matt. Best of luck, and we hope to talk to you later tonight.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Before we get set to go green tonight, we do want to thank all of you for tuning in here tonight on LSRTV. Going to be very much of a fantastic show shaping up here in the Windy City. And as we get ready to work through turns number 3 and 4, the iRacing Ford Mustang pace car going to ease off onto the pit lane field in the hands of Anthony DeBarro. And in the words of my good friend and broadcasting colleague Barney Hall, we're green here from Chicagoland, and they flash underneath that green flag. Anthony DeBarro heads off to turn number 1. Daniel Eberhardt going to fall in line in second, and the snake of that front pack rolling off turn number 2. DeBarro out in front by 5 car lengths as everybody trying to sort it out, find some room to race, and not working out well for anybody except the leader right now. It's side by side about 6th place.
That it is. That's the 96. And, oh, caution, we got trouble on the speedway in the back. It looks like
Doug
the 43.
Roth.
Yeah.
And that Petty Blue and the Richard Petty themed number 43 of Doug Roth. And we're going to get a look at the replay here as Roth, it looks like Andy just got into a little trouble. I'm not seeing a lot of damage on that race car, but it's one of those situations where everybody's in a pretty tight quarters here early on, and you just you get stuck in the melee, and there's really not a whole lot you can do.
Yeah, for him right there, it actually looked like we talked about this track where you're really turning the whole time around here, and it looked like he stopped turning right there and going into turn number 3 and got a piece of the wall right there where it juts right out and ended up getting up there. He tried staying up out of the way. Ended up when you turn these things off of the wall like that, sometimes it'll come down the track. It looked like the 12 might have had some damage from that also as he got into the rear end of the 43. So other than that, it's just one of them things, and it might have been just close quarters, him trying to just stay out of the way, but he ended up catching a piece of that wall, and that was it.
All right, so quickly back under caution, but Gabe, what I noticed on that opening run, how about the get up and go for the Camaro of Anthony DeBarro? Unbelievable drive off that initial start. He was out in front by almost half a second before I think Daniel Eberhard or really anybody else in that front pack knew where he had gone.
Yeah, DeBarro, he always gets good restarts no matter what track he's at. And if he's on that front row, he gets a good restart. But this track kind of lends itself to a good restart for that leader because he gets the jump, but he's wide open going into turn one. Nobody can catch him. And, with the 90 Anthony DeBarro stuck on the outside, he had to let off at some point, or at least he lost momentum. So that's going to leave Anthony DeBarro just to scoot away.
So already that first caution flag coming out just on that opening lap, working lap number 3 of 125 now. So we'll have a couple more times around under the caution flag, but a couple of big movers early, even in that opening lap skirmish. How about Dwayne Vincent, Andy, from 10th all the way up 3 positions to that 7th spot very, very quickly, doing a nice job, and Tyler Herr as well up 3 spots on that initial start. These guys know what they're doing, and for Vincent, it doesn't surprise me because he's good on restarts. That's been one of his hallmarks over the last couple of years here in RSR.
Yeah, and you know what? The outside lane, a lot of guys like that inside lane, but I really think that at this racetrack, the outside lane's really not that bad of a place to be, and he did all his passing on the outside. So, when they're coming through the corners like that and being on the outside, he gets that momentum coming off the corner, and I think that gave him the advantage there in that first about half a lap or so that we ran. So he definitely made up some ground, but he's still got some more to go, and we know even from last week, Dwayne Vincent will be up at the front.
How about all 3 of your points contenders? E.J. O'Rourke, Matt Lacrosse, Chad Cole. By the way, they're all teammates. He had missed out on that little memo, but all of them inside the top 10 right now. Cole running 4th, Matt Lacrosse running 8th, E.J. running 10th. They were separated by 7 points coming into tonight's race, and it has the potential to be even closer leaving it. We are going to look to get lights out this time by, actually, I'm going to go green this time by as we come back to the line. Pace car is already eased off, green flag, going to go back in the air, and Anthony DeBarro again quickly on the hammer, going to get away as they head down to turn number 1. DeBarro makes it happen. Daniel Eberhard slots into second, first battle for third.
That is a battle for third. Amaker is going to take that position. Here comes Comstock now to the inside of Chad Cole off of turn number 2. He'll clear him. Chad Cole now falling back all the way to that 5th spot right now. He's still going to contend, though, on that outside as Eberhard tries to close in on our race leader. Looks like Mitch Rollo, first one side by side. That's with the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. That battle right now is for that 7th spot.
Yeah, and Matt Lacrosse going to duck all the way down to that apron just as Dwayne Vincent does. Vincent going to go side by side. These are the 2 all-time winningest drivers in the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series are Dwayne Vincent and Chad Cole going at it here back in the pack around the back half of the top 5 in the fight for 5th right now. And you see that outside lane, Gabe. We were talking about it a minute ago. The DeWalt entry for Chad Cole gets that power down and at 5th spot into turn number 3 from Dwayne Vincent as they come back to the stripe here. So you go on board with Chad Cole and really get a look and a feel for how this Chicagoland Speedway treats the race car, but that outside lane is looking pretty sporty, at least on corner exit.
Yeah, as long as you're side by side, you're not going to make up a lot of time just running the outside by yourself. But if you're trying to get around people, that inside lane, it's fast, but it's very bumpy, and it can upset the car very easily coming off turn 4, and it can get the car tight coming off turn 2. So that's going to be one thing these guys need to look for. Another thing, these guys coming down the straightaway, look at them ducking down there on the apron. That's all fine and dandy trying to make a pass. There's 2 things you need to look forward to. Make sure you're clear, make sure you have room to pull up on the racetrack, and also watch your transition coming up on the track, because if you get it wrong, you're going to be spinning through turn 1.
Let's go a little further back in the field, around 15th place. The 55 of Tyler Herr has really made a nice move on the racetrack. He has picked his way from 21st up to the 15th position now and trying to go at it with Christopher Hurlow for the 14th spot, running in that middle groove to high groove of the racetrack, and now going to try to, he had a run there going into turn 1, Andy, and tries to make it happen. Not quite good enough, but he's going to peak to the bottom off too.
That he is. He kind of arced it in way high and then really pulled that car down to the bottom, got the run off the bottom, and now he's going to be able to pull to the inside now of Christopher Herlow now as they go around a lap car there on the apron. That's the 17 of Nicholas Orth. But these two still battling side by side. A pretty good battle right behind these guys also going side by side. So lots of action around here. All these guys trying to climb their way up through the field and get themselves up into the top 10.
Yeah, that right there, side-by-side battle is for 14th between her and Herlow. Just ahead of them, how about Jimmy North running a solid race early in the 13th position, that Federated Auto Parts number 84 machine. And, you know, we talk about Jimmy all the time. There are a few of these intermediate tracks that he really likes, Gabe. And, you know, one of those wily veterans that maybe doesn't always get the finishes that he probably deserves for the effort he puts in to some of these races. But nice to see him up towards the front of the race early.
Yeah, you know what? I've heard from the Boomtown guys his nickname, and it fits perfectly, Ken Schrader, because he's the wily veteran. Doesn't get the finishes that he deserves, like you said, but you know he runs that Federated Auto Parts scheme, and hopefully he can get the finish he deserves today. Because we've seen his counterpart, the nickname he got it from, Ken Schrader. He may not get the finishes all the time, but once in a while, in a blue moon, he can pull out front.
We just had a change for the lead about a lap ago. Make it a lap ago now. On lap number 10, Daniel Eberhardt has found the lead away from the pole sitter, Anthony DeBarro. Made a move to the inside. Andy in turn number 3 made it stick and said, "Good night, boys. I'm going to the front of this train." He's got a 3-car length advantage now as we're coming to complete lap number 12. And Eberhardt, it took him a few laps to get that car wound up, but once he got it wound up, boy, he's come to the front like a ton of bricks here.
Yeah, he's done it this all season long, whether it's the Xfinity car or the trucks. Really good qualifying efforts all season long for the 90 of Eberhard. And then once he's up there in the front, I mean, that's half the battle. I mean, if you have a fast race car and you get a good qualifying run, then, you can see those leaders in front of you. It makes it a little bit easier to chase them down, and he did a good job. It's kind of sustained now to about a 3 or 4 car length lead right now. So DeBarro, I think, a little bit of the draft playing into effect, able to hang with them at least for the time being. But this is about that point where the tires start to give up a little bit on these drivers. So you'll see guys starting to search around a little bit, like David Comstock back there in the fourth spot there, moved up another lane. So this is about that time you'll see the comers and goers and who's going to be pretty decent on the long run.
How about Matt Lacrosse back in the 7th position, trying to run down these front 6 that are within a second of one another right now. Lacrosse in the 21 lymphoma awareness entry, running the extreme high lane of the racetrack. Gabe, you just pointed it out. He goes to the bottom now, but he has been glued to that safer barrier just about the last couple of times around, and I'm not sure what he's finding up there because he lost about 0.3 of a second last time by, but he's obviously at least found something that he's interested in trying.
Yeah, when you run that outside of the racetrack, you use a little bit less tire, cranking the wheel. You're going faster, but you're using the outside lane of the racetrack, and it's a little bit longer way around. So you kind of have to find the happy medium about where he's running, just a little bit higher up right there in the middle. Look behind him, Mitch Rollo. He's running the line that Matt Lacrosse was running. So apparently Mitch has seen something that in that line that he liked.
We've got a good battle shaping up for the 5th position. Dwayne Vincent just took it away in the Parker store, number 13 Chevrolet, from Chad Cole in the 8. Those two have been exchanging that position back and forth the last couple of laps. They both dived down to the apron of the racetrack, going after William Amaker in the 69 car. Now Vincent going to look to the inside in 1 and 2. That's a battle for the 4th position. And how about Dwayne Vincent making it happen? Slides up and clears across the front nose of William Amaker. Give a call to the 13 machine as the caution flag comes out for the second time tonight.
Yeah, it looks like the 10 of John Abbott's actually around right there on the back straightaway, Jacob. So, yeah, I'm not sure if he had any help checking the replay now, but no, it looks like a self-spin right off the corner. Just chase that thing right up the track. It's pretty much like oh, no, it was actually happened right in front of him, the 93, I believe it was. Or the 83,
and
he was caught up.
Heavy smoke out of the 29 of Mike.
Yeah, it looks like they just flat out ran out of racing room. Yeah, it looked like the 83 at Benefield. Actually, it started with the 67 coming off the wall.
Just see it.
Yeah, it looked like William Hartman actually got a little tight coming off of turn number 2, kind of slowed up, and what happened was it checked up the field, and 83 had nowhere to go. Benefield right into the back of Mike Rominger, and that's what caused it. And then John Abbott was just pretty much a victim of circumstance right there for John Abbott, and had nowhere to go and ended up spinning that thing out. So under caution for the second time here tonight. And with that said, obviously pit road's open. Tires are going to become a factor here. So as we see our leaders head down pit road, Eberhardt first one into his stall, right in front of him, Anthony DeBarro. Is this a place we'll see 2 tires, or are we still going to see it looks like Matt Lacrosse took 2. 21 shaking the early gamble. And it looks like Eberhardt might have been caught speeding.
I'll take bonus points for Matt Lacrosse on that call. He wants to close in on the championship. That's an easy way to do it. And Daniel Eberhardt going to be pegged for speeding. That's going to hurt out of the race lead as he came down pit road, and now trouble leaving it. As it is, we've got 19 laps going to go up on the board this time around, and we're going to pause here on LSR TV as you're watching coverage of the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series from Chicagoland Speedway. This is LSR TV, the voice of sim racing.
Grab your share of the over $1,200 purse in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona Speed Weeks now through February 20th, 2016. We are raising money to help Laura battle cancer. 100% of all donations go directly to Laura's GoFundMe medical fund. All 43 drivers in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona 300 get paid. Mark your calendar. The 6 Race Your Way In qualifying races to be held the next 3 weekends, January 29th and 30th, February 5th and 6th, and February 12th and 13th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Password required. Are you the fastest and best at Daytona? Prove it as LSR TV broadcasts live the Daytona 300 Saturday, February 20th, 2016. Register and donate at Domino'sTYJRacing.com. Look for the green ribbon. $5 minimum donation required. Thank you for your help.
Welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway, the RSR Winter Series, Icebreaker Winter Series, coming to you live from Chicagoland Speedway. We're completing lap number 21 when they come across the line this next time when we get the green flag. And we saw a little bit of strategy game out there on the racetrack, some 2-tire action going on with the 21 and Matt Lacrosse. A good thing or a bad thing when you come to Chicago?
Well, I'd have to say we went about 20 laps. That's a reasonable time to take 4 tires. You know, if we went about a couple laps, I could see 2 tires being taken. But Matt Lacrosse is the only car out on track with 2 tires, so I think he's going to be overtaken within a few laps.
Yeah, it might not even take that much with the type of restarts that Anthony DeBarro usually gets on the racetrack. So with that said, off of turn number 4, the pace car will look to the safety of pit road. The field is in the hands of Matt Lacrosse. Green flag is in the air. He drops straight to the apron. Gets a pretty decent restart there. Takes the lead now by about 2 car lengths. The battle for second, though, is heating up. You got Dwayne Vincent now to the inside of Anthony DeBarro.
Side by side for second as they come through turns 1 and 2. Vincent, he's going to get clear coming off turn 2 down that back straightaway. It looks like Rollo, his teammate there, is on the inside. So Mitch Rollo working his way up. He restarted in the 5th position, I believe. So Yeah, but here comes DeBarro coming on the outside. So DeBarro, he's not done with this argument yet. As it looks like Mitch Rollo, he may duck to down to the bottom of the racetrack as he does, and I'm surprised Matt Lacrosse is still out front.
Not for long. Is look at Dwayne Vincent now get right up on his back bumper into turn number 1. Gives him a little bit of space, but now he's going to be on the throttle here. Gets up there, maybe makes a little contact right there. Pushes DeBarro up into the wall. Now everybody spreads all over the place. Everyone so far, as they're 3 and 4 wide, are making their way through this right now. But the 21 of Matt Lacrosse is getting run over now. Caution under the speedway. It looks like the 87 of Hurlo is around in turn 4. We're still green flag. Now the caution comes out. Wow, that was amazing. That's a total example right there.
Andy, that's what you call a wreck waiting for a place to happen. Is what that was.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It all stemmed from the 2 tires.
Well, and you know what? It's one of those situations where you knew something was going to break out here. You just weren't sure exactly what that situation was, and unfortunately, it happened basically right at towards the head of the field, and now you've got chaos. And I think we see very quickly here too that 2 tires is not going to be something that is going to pay off in the long run, because Matt Lacrosse dropped like a stone.
Boys, I think we've just witnessed the largest wreck, or at least the longest wreck in RSR history, because it started just coming off turn 2 when they got 3 wide with Anthony Nabarro, Vincent, and the 21. And then the 21 of Matt Lacrosse tried getting back down to the bottom, but that looks like A-Maker or somebody there on the inside. The 69 of A-Maker was on the inside. He just cut down on him. He ended up pushing up the racetrack, and then it just stacked up the whole field.
So under caution with 25 laps going to go up on the board, Dwayne Vincent, Mitch Rollo, Chad Cole, Corbin Hemstreet, William Amaker, now your top 5. And how about the run? I know I've said it 2 times already in the first 20% of this race, Andy, but look at Tyler Herr again. You know, he's one of the few guys that's been able to put together 5 top 10 finishes on the season, up to 6th, and making a nice run through the field. One of the biggest movers early in this race. Actually, the biggest mover started 32nd, J. Randall Watkins, up to the 14th position. But I still like the prowess that Herr has shown, and I say he's a contender again this week. It's not the same as we had at Auto Club, but it's still an intermediate track, and I think we've seen that he's got the drivability to make it work.
Yeah, it's still a momentum-based track, too, obviously, with these cars. And last week at Auto Club is most definitely probably the most complex track as far as keeping your momentum up for these Xfinity cars. And he did a fantastic job at that racetrack. So I definitely see him shining here. But, one good stat, and I love stats. I'm a guy that loves the numbers. And you look at his average start of a 24 for the season for Tyler Herr, and to be 5th in the standings, that just means he can flat out drive and make his way through the field. So not surprising to see him up here in the 6th spot now. Now he's got the track position. For him, it's just going to be a matter of keeping it all race long.
You can't help but wonder if that average start had been a little bit better, maybe what his chances would have been of actually contending for this championship. It kind of makes you think about it, doesn't it?
Yeah, the first few races, I believe, in the season, a lot of frustration was coming through in that Aegis Motorsports camp, because a lot of the guys were getting caught up in wrecks and weren't even their fault. So I think for the 55 of Tyler Herr, I think that's exactly what it was. That average start for him being back there in that field, I think it caught him caught a few times early in the season. And but now, obviously he's starting to shine here. But, yeah, we can play the game of what if, and if that starting position was even, somewhere around 14th or 15th, you might be talking about him being a contender for this championship.
So, again, we're going to reset it here in just a minute before we go back to green, but I think the other story to all this early on is the fact that Gabe, E.J. O'Rourke, the championship leader entering this race, now sitting 16th, and, of course, you just saw the issues for Matt Lacrosse. If you're Chad Cole, you got to be thinking, boy, if we can keep this up for the rest of the race, I could be the points leader going into the finale at Homestead next week.
Well, after the problems we just saw with the leaders going 3 wide, I hope he doesn't think that this race continues like it has been going, because he may be one of the guys getting involved in wrecks. But if he can stick where he is, and E.J. O'Rourke sticks there, and the points shake out, we could have a really nice race going into the final round.
I think unofficially as they run, it's long about 11 points that Chad Cole would be up on E.J. O'Rourke going into the finale, but of course that's a number that's going to be a moving target all the way through the rest of this race. Tyler Herr, Jimmy North, Nick Silver, William Hartman, Mike Kelly, the back half of the top 10, Dwayne Vincent, Mitch Rollo, Chad Cole, Corbin Hemstreet, William Amaker, though, your front five as we get set to go back under the American Ethanol green flag when the field works their way off turn 4. We're going to have 27 laps complete, and we're going to have 98 laps to go as the pace car works its way off turn 4. Going to ease back down onto the safety of pit road. Field led by Dwayne Vincent, going to flash under the American Ethanol green flag, and the outside lane does not get a good restart. Vincent, Rollo, Cole away as the top 3, but now Chad Cole quickly goes to the bottom of the racetrack, wants a piece of that runner-up spot. The DeWalt entry, that number 8, gonna go through and clear to P2.
Yeah, he is. That was a pretty good move right there for that second spot, and so now you get the top 2 veterans of RSR now running 1-2 right now. Chad Cole, real good run right there into the corner, gains a lot of time right there on Dwayne Vincent. Dwayne Vincent, though, right where he wants to be here after starting in that 10th spot, all the way up to first here early on in just 28 laps. So Dwayne Vincent getting it done early, and all these guys right now is the top 10 or so are single filed out right now. And Corbin Hemstreet, another guy we got to keep our eye on all night long. He's had some good runs, just hasn't had the finishes this season. And you got to know the frustration level's got to be up there for him, especially when you're only a couple weeks away to getting this Cup Series started.
Anthony DeBarro, who was the pole sitter tonight, has gone all the way back through the field. He's on the other end of the front-to-back syndrome. He's gone from first now back to 23rd, and I know got involved in that one caution period, Gabe. Had some damage, and he's working it. He's trying to work it back 3 wide to the inside off turn 2.
Yeah, he's just got a lot of bad luck in that Outlaw Truck Series race. He had the same deal. He had a fast car, but ended up getting a lot of damage and just couldn't keep up. And meanwhile, we got a good battle for the lead up front because Chad Cole, he's caught up to that 13 of Dwayne Vincent, that Full Throttle Cup Series champion. He wants to knock him off, and he wants to win this race.
Yeah, these two have been going at it. They're the 2 winningest drivers in the Cup Series, and they've gone at it in every series they've been in together over the past 4 or 5 years here at RSR, and the battle for the lead is renewed once again as Chad Cole within a car length. But again, back in the pack, these guys that have to be on the move. E.J. O'Rourke has been dicey in the 93, took it 3 wide a couple of laps ago, and now all the way to the apron of the racetrack moving forward, and he's moved up into the 16th position. I want to give a call as, I'll get back to John Abbott in a minute, but Daniel Eberhardt was 3 wide going through the tri-oval into turn number 1. Eberhardt having to come from the back now. All these fast guys, Andy, they're having to come from the rear, and Eberhardt just made a gutsy move into 1 last time by.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys are just trying to take advantage of having the fresh tires right now and try to get back up, get that track position that they had lost. Eberhardt, obviously, with the penalty on that pit stop, coming into the pits a little bit too hot, got the speeding penalty, had to go all the way to the back. Now he's got to fight his way back up through the field, up to that 19th spot. So he's making some ground here early, but he's got to keep that nose clean if he wants to be able to contend. Is just ahead of them. E.J. O'Rourke gets a bumper full of the 10 of John Abbott going down the back straightaway. He jumped down to the bottom there, able to stay out in front of him now as they exit turn number 4. Looking to just pretty much gain what they can and try to get every position they can, but there's a lot of cars doing battle here outside the top 10.
Yeah, it's getting dicey. 2 wide, 3 wide in spots as Dan Murray and the Sport Clips Toyota way up to the top side of the racetrack trying to make some space and get some positions. E.J. O'Rourke again to the inside of the racetrack, through on John Abbott. Here comes Comstock, 4 wide, maybe almost. Eberhardt took it 3 wide and had aspirations of going 4 deep as Christopher Herlow fills that hole and they go 3 wide. Anthony DeBarro is there, almost 4 wide as they cross the stripe, and 1 car sideways headed for turn 1.
It looks like La Placa right there getting loose. He's able to keep that thing straight. We'll stay green here as he's down in the grass, but Joseph LaPlaca losing it there. And that's one thing about this racetrack, too, Jacob, on that front stretch, because of that turn and the transition of the apron and back onto the racetrack. A lot of times you can lose it right there, and that's exactly what happened to Joseph LaPlaca. Good thing for everybody else. No one else was involved in that. It was just a self-spin.
How about the battle here back in the pack around 19th position? Anthony DeBarro is finally to the high side of Dan Murray, but last time by, Gabe, I was watching this battle, and Dan Murray threw a whale of a block all the way to the apron of the racetrack to keep DeBarro behind him. DeBarro now trying to shoot the middle 3 wide in turn number 3. He's trying to work his way forward, and this is the kind of chaos you get 3, maybe 4 wide down the front stretches. These guys are going at it. They keep thinking about going 4 wide, and everybody kind of grabs their heads at the last second and goes, yeah, guys, we maybe better not do that.
Yeah, but I think Anthony, he's in enough of a hurry. I don't think he really cares about using his head. He's trying to get to the front. And there's that guy he's racing with basically the first part of this race, Daniel Everhart. He's right there side by side. We're 3 wide right in front of him with Brian Terry, Comstock, and Roth. They're 3 wide right in front of him, side by side as they come. One's got to go to the apron. None of them. None of them go to the apron.
4 wide for DeBarro on the bottom of the racetrack. That's barely going to work as he picks off Doug Roth, picks off Eberhardt, picks off Brian Terry. Oh, boy. I'm telling you, this is a hornet's nest if there ever was one. Meanwhile, with 38 laps complete, we're a quarter of the way through. Dwayne Vincent on by a second on the rest of the field, trying to settle it amongst themselves as they're 2 car lengths apart, but it's 1.2 seconds. Back to William Amaker in third, and then the Boomtown Sim teammates are Mitch Rollo and Corbin Hemstreet, the top 5. We're going to do a little bit of business here on LSRTV as we've now hit the 1/4 mark, and we're going to go LSRTV non-stop so you don't miss a moment of what's turned into some very exciting action. From Chicagoland Speedway, you're watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back to LSRTV. TV and coverage of the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series from Chicagoland Speedway. We're focusing right now on a great battle inside the top half dozen of the field. We're looking at the 0-2 of Mike Kelly, who's just gone to the head of the train. This is from 6th through about the 11th position. Jimmy North in the 84 is there. The 51 of Nick Silver is there. 96 Mitch Rollo. 70 Scott Eckridge. 67 William Hartman, all among this battle. And Daniel Eberhardt trying to join them to make it a 7-car battle for the 6th position, led now by Mike Kelly into turn number 3. We bring you inside the Inside Sim Racing broadcast tower. Jacob Seelman, Andy Kessler, Gabe Wood with you here for all the action tonight from the virtual Windy City. Dwayne Vincent's your race leader now by 3/4 of a second over Chad Cole, as we've got 45 laps complete of 125. So still a long way to go, guys. But Andy, this battle for 7th right now, Jimmy North looked so good in the early portion of this run. He's really fallen off now, starting to hold these guys up. 51, Nick Silver to the inside of the racetrack in turn 3. I think Jimmy's about to drop a little bit like a rock here.
Yeah, I think at this point of the run, the tires have just flat out gone away. I think Jimmy's been really pushing it at the beginning part of the run, which is good. He's been up front and up there in the top 10, but right now I think he's starting to struggle with the tire wear. As the Eckridge has some issues, gets a little bit tight through the center of the corner. That's actually going to slow up the 90 of Eberhard. Eberhard, who's been on the move right now. Wow, what a block right there by the 70 of Scott Eckridge down the back straightaway. But you got to look at Daniel Eberhard, who restarted at the tail end of the field, and now he finds himself in the top 10. So for Daniel Eberhard, that's been a good run for him.
Daniel Eberhardt has used the pardon me, coming through method of getting back through the field. Of course, he had a speeding penalty during one of the early rounds of pit stops here under caution at the Chicagoland Speedway. What have we had, gentlemen? 3 cautions already here in the early going, and a lot of good green flag racing in this last stint.
Yeah, the green flag racing actually has been just absolutely phenomenal with these cars. I mean, it's all little groups around the racetrack, about 6-7 cars here, 6-7 cars a couple seconds back from them, and it's just been some great racing and some hard racing. I mean, to be 3 wide, 4 wide at Chicagoland, I mean, obviously the track's wide enough to do that, but these cars can get so tight in these corners that when you start getting more than 2 wide there through the corners, it can definitely make it pretty tricky, and we've seen that so far here tonight. And but just the battles everywhere. I'm looking back here at 17th for the 11 of Jonathan Cadell. I mean, look at these guys battle here. There's about 8 cars right now in the mix of that, led by Eric Arnold in 31 right now as they exit turn number 4. And it looks like, the 27 of Randall Watkins might have grazed the wall right there, almost came down into Christopher Hurlow. So just all over the racetrack, Jacob, we just have these small little packs of cars that are just really giving each other fits.
Oh yeah, big pack of cars here coming through turn 2, led by that 31 of Eric Arnold. He's in the pack of these cars, followed by Jonathan Cadell and Jeff Ward. But right behind them, Christopher Hurlow, J. Randall Watkins. J. Randall Watkins, he's in the 21st position. He was already up to about 11th as they almost go 3 wide coming out of 3 and 4. But he was up to the 11th position like Jimmy North. He just ran his tires on the ragged edge for a few laps and was able to get up there. So he has speed, but it's choosing when to use that speed. We're side by side up on the front of this pack for that 17th position. Mitch Rollo, he's slow there on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, and Rollo was running really well inside the top 5. It looks like he's got some damage to, Andy, the left front of that machine. Not sure what's happened there. He was inside the top 5 for most of this run.
Yeah, he was. I'm actually going through it a little bit, seeing if I can see what happened to him, and I really don't see too much that's happened to him except getting a little close to the wall. But Mitch Rollo obviously having some problems and had to come down, had to have some problems right there. And but for Mitch Rollo, he's slow on the racetrack, losing a lot of time.
He said over the radio just a moment ago, Andy, that he got loose on the apron and it was just driver error that caused him some issues. So trying to get back up to speed and see what that car's got. But Jonathan Cadell, the 11, just got a piece of the wall and trying to run that high lane. It works for a while. The problem is you got to be careful, Gabe, not to push it too high. Otherwise, you do basically get sucked right into that safer barrier.
Oh yeah, if you run that extreme high lane and hit it, there's only one good thing about it. It hurts less when you hit it because you got a smaller space to go up the racetrack. Eberhard, he's moving up into the 7th position, so up front, got to change for the 7th position. Eberhard is coming. Now he's only got to get past Mike Kelly, and he's at the front of this little pack. Mike Kelly had a good run. He won your Outlaw Truck Series race at Michigan on a fuel mileage, and that was a desperately needed win for him. So that was a good run for him, and he's looking to have another good run here.
Yeah, Kelly's been extremely impressive here over the past couple of weeks, and trying to make that happen. That win actually, I think, coming at Talladega in that last second gasp of a victory when he was able to edge it out coming right to the line. It was him and Brian Terry a couple of weeks ago when, Mike Kelly, Andy, is one of those guys that I'm not used to seeing him at the front of the field this soon. He usually will kind of hover back around 10 and really not make a move up to the top 5 or 6 until late in the race. So nice run from 28th to 6th here early in the going, and that's actually making him our biggest mover so far as he loses one to Daniel Eberhard, and actually I think got a piece of the wall off turn 4.
Yeah, he did. He actually wobbled a little bit. Eberhard was already to the inside of him, but just ran out of the racetrack right there for Mike Kelly. So he'll settle things back down into that 7th spot right now. And that 90 car, though, is on a mission right now. As you can see him literally on that back straightaway, just closing the gap on the 55 with Tyler Herr. And he has definitely saved his tires over this run as we go on board with him right now. And you can see that gap just absolutely gone away in a matter of one lap. So Eberhard is on the move and looking to take that 5th spot right here in the turn 1.
How about another driver that's on the move, actually? Our race leader, Dwayne Vincent, all of a sudden has ballooned the gap over Chad Cole to 1.5 seconds. And Cole is going to be in jeopardy here in a minute as Daniel Eberhard just made the move to the inside of Tyler Herr for the 5th spot. We're going to be ready for pit stops here in a moment, but, Chad Cole is going to be in need of fresh tires and maybe a fresh turn of the page here, Andy, under this round of pit stops that's getting ready to happen, because he's fallen back into the clutches of William Amaker for that battle for the 2nd spot here before too long.
Yeah, it's that time. Leaders are not leaders, but guys about mid-pack have already started to come down pit road. I think they're trying that short pit strategy to be out on the racetrack with the fresher tires longer than the leaders. So we'll see some mix-up here. I think the 51's coming down this time by. Also, he's running 8th right now, so Nick Silver decided to come down pit road a couple laps earlier. We'll have to keep an eye on him. He was 8th. We'll have to remember, 8th place when he first came down. But I think that we'll have to think about some of these guys. As looks like Eric Arnold missed pit road.
Yeah, trouble for the Navy Nuke is Eric Arnold. That's a costly mistake, having to limp around here another 1.5 miles. We'll get the replay here as he's still through the grass and trying now to get it back up to speed on the apron in turn number 1. So tough break for Eric Arnold and that 31 machine as, we continue to wait, and he's actually going to lose a lap right here as Dwayne Vincent soars around the outside of that 31 car. So it's going to that whole exchange going to cost Eric Arnold 1 lap as we're still, Gabe, waiting for the leaders to hit pit road.
Yeah, that wasn't even an innocent, I misbraked and I locked him up and I spun it in the infield. He was at 100 miles an hour by the commitment cone. There was no way he was making it down to pit road.
60 laps complete now, closing in on the halfway point of this race. So in just a few minutes, we're going to have our iRacing midway race break. But in the meantime, Daniel Eberhard is closing the gap on the leaders. It's down to 2.6 seconds to Dwayne Vincent, but he has caught Corbin Hemstreet and William Amaker for the 4th and 3rd positions respectively. Eberhard ready to go to work. He wants to make up as much time as he can before he has to come down pit road and put fresh tires. I'm telling you, fresh tires on that machine, it's going to be scary good.
Yeah, it is. He's been fastest car on the racetrack probably for the last 10 laps or so. So conserving tires has definitely been the key for him. He's going to get a couple spots right here as they head back into turn number 3. He's already cleared the 41 of Him Street. Now he's going to make short work of William Amaker right there in turn number 3. Here comes E.J. O'Rourke, though, into the picture. He has already pitted and got those fresh tires, and you can see the difference. You can just flat out see the difference of new tires right there as E.J. O'Rourke storms by. And we'll have to keep an eye on him as the green flag pit stops continue, as all these guys are just making up tons of time.
And just look at E.J. O'Rourke. He is absolutely flying around this racetrack. He's short pitted. He took those early tires and he's able to use them. Look for him to make up a ton of positions as we see these guys. It's almost like he's faster than them standing still, guys.
Yeah, it does, and he's about to unlap himself here in a minute. I think by the time this whole party cycles around, he may end up being the race leader, at least temporarily, Andy. He's about to unlap himself right here as he goes to the outside of Dwayne Vincent. That's tight.
Yeah, right there, he just flat out, he actually lost a lot of momentum because that brought David Comstock into the picture too here as these two both battle, and that is for position on the racetrack. That's for that 12th spot right now. So for E.J. O'Rourke, lost a little bit of momentum. Now he's back up to speed right where he needs to be. But both of those guys unlapped themselves, and then now they're able to, I'm telling you, you might be looking at one of these two guys being your race leader here when everything's cycled through.
I think so. I think they've made up so much time here under these pit stops that it's really gonna make these two guys the favorite. And look how they fan out now. EJ going all the way to the bottom, Comstock rim ride in that high lane in the corners as they're searching for grip right here. And we're still waiting to see when the leaders are going to hit pit road. Dwayne Vincent, Chad Cole, Dan Eberhardt, they've waited so long. At this point, Andy, I'm starting to almost get a little bit nervous if they've waited too long.
You know what, they could, but at the same time, if they can knock an extra pit stop off of the race, then it might work out in their favor, because you got to figure by the time they come down pit road, they're going to be down. They're obviously going to be down a lot of time, but they're also going to be making up the time just like these guys are doing right now, currently at this second, as Eberhardt is just basically trying to get out of the way, and so is Chad Cole right in front of him.
Look at these guys. They are absolutely fanning around. Oh, my God. Chad Cole, in a matter of a lap, has almost gotten hit about 3 times by these guys going past. That time it was Jimmy North the last time. But these guys, they're so fast. And, Evan, you were talking about too late for these guys to pit. Jacob, excuse me. Man, I haven't commentated with Jacob before, and it's hard to get used to it. But Jacob, another $5 in the PayPal. But Jacob, you were talking about it's too late for them to pit. The tires are going to be worth it. If they stay out and the pit stops end up the way they fall, these guys are smart. They may, like E.J. O'Rourke and David Comstock, they may be sitting ducks and maybe even go a lap down with how slow those tires are going to be.
Yeah, and this is where it's a very fine line, guys, between timing it right and missing out on that window of opportunity. And I know they're trying to stretch it here, Andy, but I don't get it at this point.
You know what? Listen, this is why they're driving and we're not. You know what I'm saying? They must obviously know something. I'm sure Eberhardt, as he makes his way around Chad Cole for that second spot there off of turn number 2, they got Mike Kelly now trying to split them with the fresh tires. But you look at Eberhardt, he's probably basically saying, well, look, I'll stay out as long as Dwayne does, because Dwayne, when it comes down to fuel mileage races and things like that, Dwayne Vincent's definitely somebody that you're going to have to keep an eye on. So, for Eberhardt, he's probably just going to say, I'll pit when Vincent does. And for now, I mean, he's not running bad lap times. He's just not running, obviously, what the guys are in the fresh tires. So we'll see when they do decide to come down pit road. But I really think these guys are going to try to push it so they can make it on just one more stop, where these other guys are going to have to make it on 2.
Are we sure, Gabe, that these guys are the guys that pitted so soon are going to have to make 2 more stops? Can they stretch the fuel on the last run, maybe?
I mean, these guys, they run long enough races. They're good at saving fuel. So, I mean, just look at Comstock and O'Rourke. They're in the championship positions they are throughout the seasons because they know how to do it. They know how to do it in all forms of racing. So, you'd have to believe they know how to do it. It's the question of how much fuel do they have to save, and is it too much for them to save in the amount of laps we have?
Yeah, that's really, really going to be the key here. So you continue. Yeah, we're past halfway now, so I know we're still cycling a few things through, but let's go ahead and take an iRacing midway race break here, about, I guess, 8 laps or so past the halfway point. But you've got Dwayne Vincent, your race leader, out in front of the field. Daniel Eberhardt has gotten around Chad Cole for the second position. Cole back to third, Corbin Hemstreet, and now David Comstock, the top 5, as only 4 guys have not pitted yet. DeBarro is 6th, EJ O'Rourke up to 7th, Nick Silver 8th, Tyler Herr 9th, and Dan Murray rides 10th.
11th spot right now goes to the 7 of Nelson Rivera. Douglas Wyatt sits 12th. 13th is the 67 of William Hartman. Mitch Rollo sits 14th. 15th is the 15 of Jeff Ward. Christopher Herlow runs 16th. 17th currently on the track is the 84 of Jimmy North. Doug Roth sits 18th. 19th goes to Rhett McBride, and Jonathan Cadell rounds out top 20.
21st position goes to the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, followed by the 02 of Mike Kelly. J. Randall Watkins is going to be in the 23rd position. Last car on the lead lap, Scott Eckridge. You saw him making some good moves. He just unlapped himself, so he's in that 24th position. Greg Omo, the first car a lap down, the first of many. That 26th position is going to go to Nicholas Orth as Greg Omo unlaps himself. Jason L. Swan in the 18 goes in the 27th position. 28th goes to Stephanie Lesentine. And another Aegis driver, Brian Terry, in 29th. And William Amaker in 30th.
31st gonna go to the Navy Nuke, Eric Arnold. John Abbott, 32nd, 2 laps down. In 33rd is Dale Rentz, and these 3 cars have either had problems or other assorted issues derail their nights. 34th, Joseph LaPlaca. 35th, Adam Benefiel. Mike Rominger, 36th. Those 3 the only cars out of this race with 75 of 125 laps complete. We've got just 50 to go, and that's a look at your iRacing.com midway race break, powered by iRacing, the world leader in motorsports simulation. Dwayne Vincent, your race leader. Eberhardt, Cole, Hemstreet, and Comstock, the top 5, as Daniel Eberhardt is pitting, and it looks like Dwayne Vincent may be coming with him. Top 2 off turn 4, off the banking, with just 50 laps to go. What we think may be their final pit stop here. And how about this? Eberhardt, look, the run he made to get down to pit road speed was unbelievable right there, Andy. Let's follow these 2 leaders as they hit their pit stalls.
Yeah, they're going to come down, obviously take 4 tires. This probably most likely will be the last time you're going to see these guys on pit road. First one to the stall was, of course, Dwayne Vincent. He's going to take his 4 tires. He's going to get loaded up with fuel. Of course, Daniel Eberhardt, who made up a ton of time. I mean, that's exactly where you can make a lot of time on pit stops, is getting on and getting off of pit road. So we'll see how these guys fare off. It looks like Eberhardt's going to beat him off of pit road. So now it's going to be a matter of who can get around this apron right now, as it looks like Vincent's going to try to pass him on the apron. We got a race for the apron.
Oh, boy. And while all that's happening, Chad Cole has stayed out to lead the race and pick up a bonus point in the championship. That could be crucial. The problem now is he's bought himself some insurance on his final run, and it's going to be interesting. Comstock made it down to 7.5 seconds between, and I think Cole, oh, boy, he barely made it down to pit road speed and almost caught the cone on his way in as well. Race leader in for his final stop here with 48 laps to go.
Guys, just look at the results right now as they run. 29th position goes to Eberhardt, Dwayne Vincent in front of him in 28th. They're 37 seconds behind us. We got a battle for the lead basically a couple laps ago, but now they're battling for the 28th position as Eberhardt goes on the inside. It's just a matter of time. Eberhardt has a fast car, but they're going to have to do a lot more than just race for position. They're going to have to catch up by almost more than half a minute.
Well, the key here is, too, as we see Chad Cole come off pit road, everybody that's pitted has to make one more pit stop as well. So it's going to be a matter now as the caution comes out. Oh, my.
This changes
everything.
Looks like Stephanie Lesentine in turn 3.
And Doug Wyatt. Doug Wyatt got a piece of that as well. Oh my, the 22 and 78 get together, and the caution flag out on lap number 78 as Chad Cole just came in for service, and he is going to stay on the lead lap, barely, as are Dwayne Vincent and Daniel Eberhardt. Now, Andy Kessler, with these three that just pitted, have the rest of the car, has everybody else been out long enough that they have to pit here?
I do believe so, Jacob. I think that you're going to see all these front runners, all these leaders come down, get their 4 tires of fuel. Will be the last time probably you will see them on pit road unless there is a caution. But with that being said, I think that at this point, in order for the strategy to work for Eberhard, Vincent, and Cole, they have, and for Corbin Hemstreet to be exact, those 4 guys have to stay out right here. They've only ran about 2 laps under the green flag. So I really think as fast as these cars were on the older tires, I think they have to stay out. They cannot pit, but it looks like Eberhardt's coming down anyway.
That really puzzles me too. I'm not sure if Eberhardt was feeling something amiss with that car, but it shocks me that he would have come down pit road at this point, because he had only spent a lap or 2, maybe topping off with fuel, Gabe, possibly just take fuel only.
I mean, that's the only thing I could see, because Daniel's smart. I know he wouldn't want to work his way through 30-plus cars, but as we see these guys, they're side-by-side coming off pit road. Looks like a side-by-side battle.
Wow.
Yeah, DeBarro wins the race off pit road. Nick Silver looks like he's going to get second, and then Tyler Herr is going to be in third.
Wow, and Eberhardt took 4 tires. I'm extraordinarily puzzled by that, actually. And what this is going to do is it's going to cycle, I think, Dwayne Vincent and Chad Cole back to positions 1 and 2. Cole, actually, no, I guess everybody came. I'm stunned. I'm stunned right here, to be quite honest. And I'm really shocked if Cole came down pit road too, guys, because Chad Cole stayed, and he had only been on track. He hadn't even been on track a lap. He hadn't even been on track a lap when the caution came out, so he's going to buy the lead right here as we cycle it through. And Corbin Hemstreet stays out and actually goes to the lead. This really just shook up the whole deck, and I'm going to be curious, and maybe we can't dial him up on our in-race communications here for a second to find out what the reasoning was for that, because we're all extremely puzzled here as far as to Daniel Eberhardt coming down pit road, and we've got him dialed up. Daniel Eberhardt, Jacob Seelman, Andy Kessler, Gabe Wood in the broadcast booth, and I think our biggest question here is, knowing that you guys had just come down pit road, why the decision to come back?
You ain't going to make it on fuel. You're going to run out, and tires mean everything here. I pitted when half the top of the field stayed out, and I drove up through there and saved my stuff and was catching Dwayne, and we pitted. And right then I knew we had to pit again, because when that caution came out, when Douglas spun out right there, we have to pit. There's no way you would make it on fuel, and there's no way you would last out there with old tires. The field would come catch you once they pitted again.
Daniel, this is Gabe up in the broadcast booth. I got to ask you a question, man. You already came from the back after that speeding penalty outside the top 20. Do you feel like passing 20 other cars to get the win?
Yeah, I do, but it's gonna be rough, man. That's dangerous right there, coming up through the field. I wish I never sped down pit road, and now I wish I would have pitted with all the other guys, so I would have been up there during that pit stop. But I feel like I got a good Chevrolet, and I feel like I can get back up there.
We'll let you get to it, Daniel. Appreciate the time talking to us, and hopefully we're talking to you here in about 42 more laps.
We'll try to.
All right, Andy, now we've got a little bit more of a look inside the head of what one of the race leaders before that cycle of pit stops. So are you buying that he can get back up there?
You know what? Honestly, the way this race has gone and the way him and Vincent have driven this racetrack and how fast their cars are, I'm going to put my money on those guys that they can come from 20th and 21st respectively and get back up to the front. The problem that they're going to have is is we saw the way the racing was on that last restart. That's going to be the only issue for them, is being able to avoid any carnage.
The new leaders now, again, going to be Corbin Himstreet and Chad Cole, 1-2 as the pace car going to ease back onto pit road, and the field coming back to another American Ethanol green flag restart. We're back underway as Boomtown Sim first and third. Anthony DeBarro making the move to the inside, and they're trying to bring Tyler Herr third on the inside lane along with them as EJ O'Rourke's looking for a lane to race. They're going to go 2 wide, almost 3 wide into turns 1 and 2. O'Rourke to the bottom of the racetrack. Boomtown to 1-2 as Corbin Himstreet and Anthony DeBarro run out to the front of the train.
Chad Cole, though, is going to hang tough, go to look to the outside now, try to battle for that second spot. But look at him, wide open on the bottom goes DeBarro. He just pulls away right there. And now you got Tyler Herr battling for that third spot. He's trying to get around Chad Cole. He gets him clear now as Mitch Rollo looks to make it maybe 3 wide there. Going back into turn 1, he chooses wisely, jumps in behind that 93 of O'Rourke. And for the championship leader, I think he's made his good call of the race there. He's got his track position back.
Yeah, how about the battle for the lead? Headed for turn number 3. Anthony DeBarro to the inside of his teammate, Corbin Himstreet, as DeBarro pitted for 4 fresh tires, and it's going to pay big dividends right here off turn number 4. Himstreet goes high, DeBarro goes low, and we're going to have a new leader at the stripe with 40 laps to go, and Tyler Herr's looking there trying to make it 3 wide. Caution flag flies.
Looks like the 87 of Christopher Hurlow was backed up against the fence there in the front straightaway. Not sure exactly how that happened off of turn number 4, but we'll pull up a replay for you. But it looks like he made contact with the number 91, it looks like, of Greg Omo, and they made contact off of turn number 4. And maybe Hurlow, I think he just was going down the racetrack. He thought maybe the 91 was going to the apron, but man, very good driving by everybody else. They were able to avoid the 87 spinning there about 6-7 times on the front straightaway.
Under caution now with 38 laps to go, and we're going to step aside here on LSRTV, going nonstop, and Anthony DeBarro, Tyler Herr, Chad Cole, EJ O'Rourke, your top 5 in the Windy City. From Chicagoland Speedway, this is LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Grab your share of the over $1,200 purse in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona Speed Weeks now through February 20th, 2016. We are raising money to help Laura battle cancer. 100% of all donations go directly to Laura's GoFundMe medical fund. All 43 drivers in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona 300 get paid. Mark your calendar. The 6 Race Your Way In qualifying races to be held the next 3 weekends, January 29th and 30th, February 5th and 6th, and February 12th and 13th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Password required. Are you the fastest and best at Daytona? Prove it as LSRTV broadcasts live the Daytona 300 Saturday, February 20th, 2016. Register and donate at Domino'sTYJRacing.com. Look for the green ribbon. $5 minimum donation required. Thank you for your help.
Driving 81, yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby shaking.
The partnership with iRacing.com originated with Grand Am Road Racing back in 2010 is involved to where it is today. The partnership with IMSA. We launched the iRacing.com online sports car championship, which made sense on a number of levels for IMSA. Many of our fans, in fact, many of our competitors in this series are avid iRacing sim racers, so the partnership was natural in that regard. The iRacing community clearly has an interest in motorsports, and this partnership allows us to showcase the uniqueness of our racing series and the strategy behind endurance racing. This is certainly one of the main goals of our partnership.
Our partnership with IMSA is perfect. It makes sense on many levels. IMSA is all about sports car racing, endurance racing, and that's something that iRacing has to offer. Events that are exactly like you'll find in IMSA. The Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, Watkins Glen 6 hours, and the Petit Le Mans event held at Road Atlanta. You can choose from the Corvette Daytona prototype or any number of the GT cars that we have to offer. The combination of those cars makes for great mixed class racing with variable speeds. The Corvette DP that's in iRacing is an exact model of the Whelen Corvette that races in the IMSA series. Eric Kern was very helpful in getting us data and all the bits and pieces that we needed to complete the project. All the tracks on iRacing are laser scanned, so they're exact replicas of what the real-world drivers get to experience in the IMSA series. You can race on nearly every track that IMSA drivers race on.
Welcome back to LSRTV, the voice of sim racing from Chicagoland Speedway. It's coverage of the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series here as we close in on the final 35 laps. When we go back green flag racing, Boomtown Sim teammates Anthony DeBarro and Corbin Hemstreet on the front row for the restart that could potentially decide the winner of this race. We don't know that this is going to be the last one, but certainly we're getting down to it as the pace car going to ease its way back onto pit road, and the field going to be in the hands of DeBarro once again. He steps on the loud pedal, and we throw the green flag over the rest of this field as now one car spinning through the infield as they head down to turn number one. David Comstock already 3 wide, and he's got Scott Eckridge coming behind him. It's a hornet's nest in 1 and 2.
Yeah, look at this battle going on right now. We talk about Comstock making the moves. Now look at Tyler Hurd now trying to get that second spot away from Corbin Hemstreet. Hemstreet on a little bit older tires, probably about 5 laps older than these guys in front of him right now. Tyler Hurd now to that second spot here as they race down the front straightaway. Mitch Rollo now starting to come into the picture too. He wants to fight for that 3rd spot.
Yeah. How about Mitch Rollo? Very nice run that he's had so far in the latter stages of this race. And look at Tyler Hurd all of a sudden. Closing on the back deck lid. Back in the pack. David Comstock, the 14. Going to work on the 15. A Jeff Ward crossover. Move to the inside. That's the battle for 8th position in turn 3.
These guys got a good race here for the back half of the top 10. With the racing we've seen all day, this shouldn't settle out here because these guys are going to fan out 3 wide. Tyler Hurd, he has absolutely amazed me with the way he's driven up through the field. And little DeBarro or Eberhardt watch, he's up to 15th from that 21st restart position a couple laps ago.
How about another guy who's been running up through the field, done a very nice job. Tied for biggest mover of the race in 7th, the Miller Genuine draft entry. J. Randall Watkins, Andy, has run his way through the field from 32nd to 7th. As has the 15 of Jeff Ward. He's 9th, started 34th, and battling for it with Mike Kelly in 1.
Yeah, these guys are battling it right now through the corner of 1 and 2, and Ward on the high side. Adrian O'Rourke going to take advantage of that. As here comes Chad Cole now. Here comes Eberhardt now to the inside of the 70 of Scott Eckridge. Now they make a little bit of contact, it looks like. Eberhardt getting a little tight through the corner. He's still trying to make his way through the field.
How about Corbin Hemstreet coming back on the bottom of the racetrack? Nice run for the Boomtown Sim cars. They're trying to work together to get around Tyler Hurd here. Wheel to wheel in turn number 1. Hemstreet on the bottom, Hurd on the top lane, and now Hurd going to have a little bit of help from Nick Silver on the back end, but Corbin Hemstreet can't slide through and clear him. They're still going to be wheel to wheel down the back straight away, and they're going to go door handle to door handle again in turn 3. Caution flag flies behind them.
Randall Watkins was involved too. I'm not sure if he was the actual reason of the caution, but him and David Comstock made contact. entering turn number 3, but that was right after Matt Lacrosse in the 21 had his issues, as it looks like his car is smoking down the front straightaway. So Matt Lacrosse, the struggle continues here tonight. But just as that was happening, it looked like David Comstock made some contact with J. Randall Watkins, and both of those guys, Watkins getting the brunt of that as he went nose first into turn number 3.
Yeah, and that was a hefty shot by David Comstock to the back end of the 27 as well. And one, I couldn't tell exactly who it was, but somebody came through right at the tail end of that, and I'm gonna run. I think it was Lacrosse, Gabe, that got a really sizable chunk of the door handle of the 27 of J. Randall Watkins, and Matt's one of our points contenders, and that's a lot of damage to that machine, and maybe race-ending damage right here.
Yeah, it looks like he blew his motor, but a secondary accident back here at the pack I'd like to talk about. The 90 of Daniel Everhart got loose coming off the corner, got into the side of Eckridge in that 70, ended up hitting the 69 and spinning to the infield. So Everhart, our leader earlier in the race, he ends up getting heavy damage here with a couple laps to go.
And we get down to it, all the leaders back on pit road with 28 laps to go. And it looks like 4 tires for most of the lead pack. And the race off pit road gonna be DeBarro by about an inch.
That was a close race right there, and a good job by Tyler Herr to make up some ground on that pit stop. It looks like Corbin Himstreet actually struggled on that pit stop. He's going to come out in about 5th spot, maybe 6th right there. So the 41 having some issues.
Under caution, we're going to try to take one more opportunity to squeeze in a quick break here on LSRTV. DeBarro, Himstreet, Herr, Rollo, and Silver were the top 5 coming into pit road. We'll update you on the order when we come back. From Chicagoland Speedway, you're watching Live Sim Racing TV. Welcome back to LSR TV, closing in on the finish of tonight's 125-lap run for the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series at Chicagoland Speedway. Jacob Seelman, Andy Kessler, Gabe Wood in the broadcast booth as lights are out atop the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car and getting ready to go back. Now Anthony DeBarro, Tyler Herr, Jonathan Cadell. I think that's the first time we've said his name in about 75 laps tonight. Mitch Rollo and Corbin Himstreet, the top 5. So 3 Boomtown Sim cars up in the top 5 right now. And how about Cadell, Andy, as we get set to come back to green? That 11 Toyota has made a charge late, and I'm intrigued to see him up there. It's the highest he actually has been, as our producer Cisco Scaramuza points out, all night long.
Yeah, it is the highest, and he's been fast too throughout the race. So it'll be interesting to see with a good track position how he fares.
Pace car's gone once again, eased back onto the safety of pit lane. E.J. O'Rourke into the bottom of the racetrack. Green flag goes back in the air. The field flashes underneath it as we have 26 laps to go in Chicago. DeBarro leads the way to turn number 1. Tyler Herr left to deal with the 11 of Jonathan Cadell. Rollo, Hemstreet, wheel to wheel, the teammates battling for 4th. And look at the run for Cadell on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make it happen, but not going to have the edge off turn 2.
Yeah, he'll have a pretty decent car on the bottom as these first couple laps go with the fresh tires. Tyler Herr, though, trying to put the pressure on the outside. He's got the momentum now down the front straightaway. Not sure if he's going to be able to clear him. He will get that position as they cross the start-finish line. But Cadell holding serve right now on that inside lane right now. Mitch Rollo now making a charge here through the center of the corner. He's trying to get around Hemstreet, and he's going to get pinched right there by Cadell. Cadell gives him some room on corner exit. Now look at E.J. O'Rourke now looking to the inside. There you got battles going all over the place.
Cadell had to give Mitch some room right there. They were both going to get wrecked coming off the corner, and I think he just showed his displeasure as E.J. O'Rourke to the bottom of the racetrack, 3 wide, going for the 5th position. He gets it down into turn number 1. It is a hornet's nest from 3rd on back.
Oh yeah, these guys fanning out. E.J. O'Rourke, we thought he was going to settle around the 20th position this entire race, but he's up there racing for a top 5, and if he can get up there, maybe a win. He's got the speed for it. Right behind him, Chad Cole. Chad Cole's trying to work his way back up, followed by, looks like Nick Silver there on the top. In front of him, the 2 Boomtown cars of Rollo and Hemstreet. So all these guys trying to get the best position they can.
Yeah, we are now 23 laps remaining in this race. EJ going for 4th now on Mitch Rollo. Had it at the line, trying to hold it by the time they get off turn number 2. And now Tyler Herr trying to close in. He was faster last time by than the 9 of Anthony DeBarro. Can he get there is the question. We're closing in on the final 33 miles to find out. Gap was 0.3 of a second last time by. This time off turn number 4. Visibly, I think it's a little bit closer, and he does cut into it by another 3/100. So he's faster, Andy. He's just got to get there.
Yeah, and then it's going to be the problem of trying to pass him once he gets to him. So Tyler Herr definitely has some work cut out for him to get that done. Cadell's kind of falling back just a little bit there in that 3rd spot with Mitch Rollo still doing battle right now. He got around E.J. O'Rourke, and E.J. O'Rourke finally settling in that 5th spot there. But he's doing everything he needs to do right now. All he's got to do is finish ahead of Chad Cole, which he is, which will maintain his points battle.
Tyler Herr, a couple of laps ago, Gabe, matched his fastest lap of this entire race, and he is holding that gap steady at about 0.3 of a second. We're coming up right now on our Hippies Paint Shop, 20 to go, and it's about that time that we basically got to put up or shut up. So 20 laps to go. Who have you got? Andy, I'll start with you.
Really? I'm going to go with the 9 of Anthony DeBarro. I think he's going to win this thing.
Gabe?
Well, just to be different, I like Anthony DeBarro, but I think Tyler Herr, he's just got the momentum coming off the last win at Auto Club. Well, Anthony's just said he's jinxed DeBarro. Well, I jinxed Tyler, so I think we're going to have a brand new winner with Jonathan Cadell if our superstitions hold up.
No. I'm gonna depart from conventional wisdom here, actually, and say that we're going to have a late race caution. And I think maybe Mitch Rollo has something for him if he can restart in that outside lane from either outside of row 2 or maybe get to the inside and be able to follow DeBarro through on the restart. I think Rollo still has some speed and he's trying to close in, but DeBarro's starting to pull away. The last 2 laps he's been quicker than Tyler Herr. That gap up now to about 6 car lengths as they come down, 18 laps to go.
I think for Tyler Herr, though, he's been real fast on the longer that the run goes. So if this thing can stay green to the end, he might be able to catch back up to DeBarro. But right now, DeBarro, the class of the field, as he starts to really pull away from these 3 guys running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right now, as they're going to put themselves in a battle here pretty soon here, as Cadell's really starting to close in on that 55 right now off of turn number 4. Mitch Rollo just sitting there in the tire tracks right now, catching that draft to the 11. He's going to close the gap on him also. So the battle for the second spot is going to really heat up here over the next couple laps.
How about a battle for the champ between the championship leaders? EJ O'Rourke just got a piece of Chad Cole's right rear quarter panel as Cole, I think, made just a little bit of contact trying to slide around him right there. So move Chad Cole up to the 5th position. O'Rourke back to 6th in that gmercer.com number 93. He's got Nick Silver and Corbin Hemstreet behind him, so O'Rourke having to be careful. And just ahead of them now, Mitch Rollo, Jonathan Cadell, they're going at it for the 3rd position. Look at Rollo to the inside.
Yeah, Rollo makes the move on Cadell, so move Rollo if he can get clear coming off 2. He gets clear, so he's going to slide up, and here comes Tyler. Tyler's pulling back in, Andy. Like you said, the run's going on for just a few more laps, and he's reeling that 9 car of Anthony DeBarro back in.
Yeah, he is actually really starting to close that gap. And watching him over the speaker, it's been about 0.6 a couple laps ago. Now it's down to a half a second. Now it's down even more, just over 0.4 now, as he's slowly starting to clip into that lead right now, Jacob. And I really think that on the older tires, I really think that 55's probably got something for the 9.
So Tyler Herr closing in, Mitch Rollo 3rd, Jonathan Cadell, Chad Cole the top 5 as EJ O'Rourke still within striking distance of his championship rival there in the 6th spot. Everybody's kind of stretched out single file here, but we continue to monitor this gap. 0.4 of a second. Make it now 0.3 of a second. Tyler was a full 10th quicker last time by than the 9, and look at the visible gap. It's down to 2 car lengths off turn 2.
Really closing that gap now, and the tire's starting to wear out. The speed is starting to pick up for Tyler Herr. As they enter back into turn number 3, you can really see on the corner entry, he's really gaining a lot of time. They're about even, though, on corner exit right now. DeBarro doing everything he can to try to break the draft when he can and try to outrun that 55, but he is flat out fast. Another 10th that time by.
Tyler Herr, now it's a 1/4 of a second. He's running, Gabe, that middle groove through corner entry up through about the center of the corner. He's about a half groove higher than DeBarro is, and I think he's found a little something there that's really helping him to close in.
Yeah, and it's just consistency, really, because Tyler's having to run that line. There's not a real definitive line up there, but he's just been able to just consistently catch him. And let's look at the gap this time. It was 2.5 seconds this time, just cut by 7 1/1000s. But Tyler's coming. He's catching that draft. So I think we're going to see a change for the lead here in the next few laps.
He's trying to make it happen, but, you know, you stall out when you get right up behind somebody. That cushion of air, as they call it, prevents you from getting that last little bit. Battle for the 4th position. Chad Cole has come to life in the 8, going toe-to-toe with Jonathan Cadell. Cole to the inside, Cadell up top in that Panthers number 11 Toyota. And now look at Chad Cole making it happen and moving up 1 more position. That's going to tighten the points lead just a little bit more.
Yeah, and as he's gaining a spot, EJ O'Rourke just behind him's losing spots. So the points gap is definitely shrinking up right now as the later we go on this race right now, and our battle for the lead is really starting to shape up now as Tyler Herr has actually caught him. He's within a car length now off of turn 4.
Yeah, the points gap would be 1 point between Cole and O'Rourke unofficially as they run. But the battle for the win is what we're watching. It's a 10.5 with 10 laps to go. They go back to 1 and 2. Tyler Herr, that middle groove of the racetrack, is paying such dividends on corner exit now. He makes a run to the high lane. Can't make anything happen there. Down the back straightaway, it's 2 men all alone for the lead and the win at Chicagoland.
I tell you what, these RSR guys sure are making these victories hard on their Tyler Herr. He had to work for it at Auto Club, but he's having to work for it here. But Anthony's not giving up, and I can assure you that.
Not at all, as the gap's still a 10.5, just over a car length as Herr ducks now to the bottom of the racetrack for a brief moment, moves back to that middle groove where he's been so comfortable, and off turn number 2, trying to make that run. Off turn 2 at the corner exit down the back straightaway. He closes in just a little bit and then gives up a little bit at the end of the straightaway, going into the corner, trying to make that arc, this time by 8 laps to go, and that gap seems to have stabilized as Chad Cole for 3rd behind him on Mitch Rollo.
Yeah, Chad Cole in the late going here is really trying to make up some ground right now, and the 93 of EJ O'Rourke continues to fall. So Chad Cole definitely making some noise here in the late going, getting every possible point he can get in this championship battle. It's going to make next week's race just that one more to remember as these points really start to keep on closing. E.J. O'Rourke's about to lose another spot to Mike Kelly in the 0-2. That's going to put him down to the 9th spot now. So that's a 6-point spread right there. That's a 1-point lead for Chad Cole as they run right now unofficially. So Chad Cole doing everything he possibly can to get these points.
And it would actually become a 2-point margin because Cole led a lap earlier in one of those green flag pit cycles, and I don't think E.J. O'Rourke, guys, has been out in front at all tonight. The leaders go around Jimmy North, who's slow on the apron of the racetrack, but for Tyler Herr, Anthony DeBarros started to turn on the nitrous. He has stepped away now by 4.5 car lengths from the 55 as Herr was a 0.5 quicker that time by, but he's only got 6 laps to go.
Oh yeah, as soon as Tyler caught him, Anthony realized he was coming and put those jets back on. Like you said, Tyler, or Jacob, it happened again, Jacob. $5 more in the PayPal, but whoever wins this race is going to get paid a lot more than that because Anthony, he is racing so hard for this win, and so is Tyler.
Yeah, they are, and we're this time by. It'll be 5 laps to go. Herr changes it up a little bit, ducks to the bottom sooner than DeBarro, and cuts into it. Check that. He was 4/100 slower. It looked like he was cutting into it, but now losing a little bit of time. Once again, it's 1/3 of a second in turns 1 and 2. This time, Herr goes to the bottom of the racetrack to visibly make up a little bit of time. Chad Cole's a 1.5 seconds back. It's these two for the win with 4 laps to go.
That's exactly right. Coming off of turn number 4 right now, it really looks like the 55 gains some time on quarter entry, but then he loses whatever time he gains on the exit. Oh, and caution's out, and that's going to end this thing.
And that's a little bit heartbreaking here with 3 laps to go because you felt like you were setting up for a clash of the Titans. Jeff Ward and John Abbott, the 10 and the 15, have trouble. And as we come around, it's going to be 3 laps to go when they get back to the line. But that's going to seal this one for the 9 of Anthony DeBarro as Tyler, he was coming for one last shot, and unfortunately now, Andy, never going to get to see what might have been here.
No, exactly, and that's unfortunate because it's been, well, I don't know. Oh, he was slow enough for the pace car. I didn't know if he ran out of fuel or what DeBarro was doing right there, but yeah, it's just that's unfortunate. You'd like to see him end under green just to see what would happen, but for both of those guys, even for the 8th and 3rd place there, Chad Cole, that's exactly what Cole needed with E.J. O'Rourke showing right now in that 10th spot. So I think we're going to be looking at a new points leader going into the finale.
Unofficially, it's going to be Chad Cole, I believe, by 3 points. And we'll wait for confirmation from that here after the checkered flag. But unofficially, I've got Chad Cole leading E.J. O'Rourke by 3 points going into the finale here, which would set up, Andy, a winner-take-all scenario. If you win the race, you win the championship.
Yeah, and that's a pretty cool thing. And to think that it goes, there is no chase in this series either, and for it to be that close at the end of it, that's pretty awesome. And that just shows you actually the competition level here and how good this whole series is. It's pretty stacked, if you want to call it that. And a lot of these guys that are in this field have never run a Cup Series race here for RSR. So, these guys obviously making their mark. Guys like we talk about Eberhard, but now you got guys like Tyler Herr that have never run a Cup Series race. And you see him up here battling for this, getting the win last week, and then having an opportunity for another win here this week.
So we come around, we'll get double popsicle sticks this time by at an extremely reduced pace. So 2 laps to go this time. And, we talked about the points battle a little bit, but Gabe, how big a win for Boomtown Sim, who's had no luck in either of the Winter Series, the Trucks or the Icebreaker Series. And now they finally got one of their drivers back on top, and Anthony DeBarro, we know he's not forgotten how to drive a race car. He's just had every vestige of bad luck imaginable.
Yeah, Jacob, I mean, everywhere we go, it seems like Anthony, he qualifies on pole or he qualifies in the top 5 and then gets taken out about halfway through the race. It happened at Talladega. It happened, I believe, at Indianapolis and Michigan or other racetracks. He just did not have the luck, and it finally comes his way tonight.
Still a lap and a half to go, and we look back through the top 5. DeBarro's going to win it, her second, Chad Cole third. We'll catch up with the podium here in a few minutes. A nice run for Corbin Hemstreet, who's going to survive to take 4th. Nick Silver, Mike Kelly in the top half dozen. Mitch Rollo gets a top 10 in 8th. EJ, like we said, back there in 10th. Not the night he wanted. Not the night Dwayne Vincent expected either. And who's going to be 11th when it's all said and done after leading so many laps in the middle stages of the race, Andy, as we come around to get the yellow and white together. Just could never recover after how long he stayed out on that pit cycle in the middle of this race.
I think just getting caught up in the traffic and, when you're back in the traffic, you don't have that clean air. It makes it real tough to get around guys. It takes it a lot longer to do that. So I think that's just really what was the downfall for Dwayne Vincent. We know he had a fast race car. I just think being marred back there in traffic is what really hurt his chances to get back up there. That caution that we had when that real odd cycle of pit stops happened, it would have been nice to see how that played out also. But hey, it is what it is, and a great job by all these guys. And we talk about DeBarro needing a good run. He picks up the win. How about Corbin Hemstreet having probably one of his worst seasons ever in iRacing on any league that he's ever been in, and to come here this late in the season to get a top 5 and hopefully be able to carry this momentum into the Full Throttle Cup Series in a couple of weeks. So I think for him, even the 96 of Mitch Rollo, who did get a win earlier this season at Charlotte, I believe that all those guys really needed a solid run, and I think they got it here. If they can carry that over next week, then it'll really set themselves up really pretty nice for the opening rounds of the Full Throttle Cup Series.
Off turn 4, and Anthony DeBarro's see a welcome sight. Caution and checkered flags going to flare, and Anthony DeBarro, winless no longer. He picks up his first win of the Icebreaker Winter Series season under caution, but he'll take it any way he can get it. DeBarro, your winner at the Chicagoland Speedway. Tyler Herr, Chad Cole, Corbin Hemstreet, Nick Silver, the top 5 as it's official now. And again, the story for Tyler Herr, he's got to be thinking, if I could have had those last couple laps.
Yeah, those last couple of laps would have been real nice, I think. But even then, I don't know. We'll get a chance to talk to him and see if he was saving his tires for a last-ditch effort to go at him, or if he pretty much ran them all off there. So we'll get a chance to talk to him, and it'll be fun to hear what how it went for him and how the ending played out for him.
Yeah, Anthony DeBarro really slowed up on the cooldown lap. He's actually just entering turn 3 right now as we await him to back to the start-finish line and get a chance to burn it down as he's trailing the pace car now into turns number 3 and 4. Tyler, I'm going to run up past Tyler Herr there on the apron of the racetrack, and DeBarro gets to celebrate as he chucks it down onto the apron here on the front stretch. And a long overdue celebration for DeBarro, who had not won since his last win in the Full Throttle Cup Series earlier this season, and he makes it happen, burns it down on the front straightaway as DeBarro, your winner. We'll hear from him, we'll hear from the podium, and we'll hear from the former points leader as well as we set up for the finale next week in Homestead. Back with the post-race show in just a moment from Chicagoland Speedway. You're watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
The partnership with iRacing.com, originating with Grand Am Road Racing back in 2010, is involved to where it is today. The partnership with IMSA. we launched the iRacing.com online sports car championship, which made sense on a number of levels for IMSA. Many of our fans, in fact, many of our competitors in this series are avid iRacing sim racers, so the partnership was natural in that regard. The iRacing community clearly has an interest in motorsports, and this partnership allows us to showcase the uniqueness of our racing series and the strategy behind endurance racing. This is certainly one of the main goals of our partnership.
Our partnership with IMSA is perfect. It makes sense on many levels. IMSA is all about sports car racing, endurance racing, and that's something that iRacing has to offer. Events that are exactly like you'll find in IMSA. The Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, Watkins Glen 6 hours, and the Petit Le Mans event held at Road Atlanta. You can choose from the Corvette Daytona prototype or any number of the GT cars that we have to offer. The combination of those cars makes for great mixed class racing with variable speeds. The Corvette DP that's in iRacing is an exact model of the Whelen Corvette that races in the IMSA series. Eric Kern was very helpful in getting us data and all the bits and pieces that we needed to complete the project. All the tracks on iRacing are laser scanned, so they're exact replicas of what the real-world drivers get to experience in the IMSA series. You can race on nearly every track that IMSA drivers race on. Every bump, every crack, every curb is exactly the same as what the real-world drivers experience.
Camaro.
Welcome back here to Chicagoland Speedway. We just completed 125 laps here in the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series in the Xfinity cars, and we had a pretty good race with Anthony DeBarro ending up coming home with the win here tonight. But we're going to start our post-race activities. We're going to send it down to pit road, and I believe Jacob Seelman has caught up with our former points leader, E.J. O'Rourke.
Yeah, we just did the math, and it's going to be -3 for E.J. O'Rourke headed into the finale in 1 week's time at Homestead, Miami. EJ, this was a race where for a while it looked like things were going good, and then the pit cycle in the middle kind of messed with your track position. You said you got lucky there with a break late in the race and got some of it back, but it just looked like didn't have the speed on that final run. Finished 10th, and you still got a shot. You control your own destiny, because if you win the race, no matter what Chad does next week at Homestead, you still win the title. So is it over yet?
It's not over till the fat man thing is like me. So we'll see. Hopefully we could we could have a shot here. Well, we do have a shot at Homestead. Let me fix that. I don't know, man. 10th place isn't that bad, but when you're battling for a championship, 10th place isn't going to win it. So we got kind of stuck with the caution, and I was banking on the yellow there at the end, and I ran Chad Cole really hard and trying to stay ahead of him and banking on a caution and restarting ahead of him, but I burnt my tires up and drifted back to 10th, but only 3 points out of it. I can't really complain about that.
I know it's been a very, very consistent season for you. And I mean, coming into tonight, the three of you that were in the championship fight, you, Chad, and Matt Lacrosse before he had his problems tonight, that's all team cars for this Icebreaker Winter Series. Does that take a little bit of the edge off, knowing that at the very least you three are going to race each other clean but hard all the way to the end? Or does that in a way add a little bit more pressure, knowing that you're racing your teammates for a title?
Well, obviously Matt and Chad and David have been very strong all season, as well as I think we've all won races. I've been up front, and we're all in the top 5 in points. There's no reason why we shouldn't have a chance at a championship running that good. It's just we'll see how it plays out. Losing to them is probably better than losing to anybody else, because they're good friends of mine and good teammates. So We'll see how it goes. I just hopefully we can get this Gary Mercer Trucking Chevrolet into victory lane and in the championship.
I know you can't do it by yourself, EJ. Sponsors, shout-outs, thank yous. Who do you need to say thanks to for making it happen for you in the 93 team?
First and foremost, Brennan Mercer and Gary Mercer from Gary Mercer Trucking, Papa's Hardware, Chevrolet, RSR, everyone on here, LSRTV. Just thinking about you guys and thinking about Laura, and hopefully everything goes good with her.
We know she was watching tonight. EJ O'Rourke comes up 10th and going to take a 3-point deficit into the championship finale next week at Homestead, Miami. For the first look at our podium finishers tonight, we're now going to go to the new points leader and a little bit further up pit road where Andy Kessler, I believe you've caught up with EJ's teammate, Chad Cole.
I have caught up with Chad Cole, and we talk about guys battling for the championship, and Chad Cole, who had led the points battle most of the season up until a couple of weeks ago when you had a bad finish there at Daytona. But the last couple of weeks, you've been able to get some solid runs under your belt, and tonight, third place was enough to put you back in the championship lead, albeit only 3 points now ahead of your teammate EJ, and you still got your work cut out for you and one long race to get it done.
Yeah, you're right. No, no easy task trying to beat EJ. I know he said he's not really a fan of Homestead, but anything can happen, and I just need to have a good race, try to stay out of trouble, and we'll really see where the points settle afterwards. I'm looking for a good battle with him, though.
Well, it should be a good battle, and Homestead, obviously a good track to end the season on. Obviously, another 1.5 miles, but a little bit different than Chicago. Tire wear, obviously, still a factor when you go to Homestead, but you got the chance to make some pretty interesting history here as you get set to go for your third championship in 4 seasons for the Icebreaker Series. How sweet would that be to pull that off next week?
Yeah, that'd be really cool, especially after taking last year off, kind of reset my own self, work on me, and that'd be pretty cool, not always the fastest every week, but just able to get consistent finishes and avoid trouble. Daytona was kind of an exception there, Indy too, but I know EJ's had bad luck too, so I mean, it's not like it's just me. So I'm really looking forward to it. I wish it was next Monday already.
Yeah, we get it out of the way. That way you don't have to think about it. Maybe we can set it up now and race it now and get it over with, right?
Let's do it. We were at Homestead in the trucks on the outlaw side, excuse me, a couple Wednesdays ago. And we had a pretty good run there. I felt like I had a good long run car, kind of per usual. So, I mean, I'm not really a fan of the track, but I tend to run all right there. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. Let's set it up. Let's do it right now.
I like that. Let's just get it. We got everybody here. Might as well get it done. But anyway, a third place finish here tonight. Obviously, back in the points lead for yourself. One more race to get it done, and obviously, there's more to it than just yourself. Any sponsors, shout outs, Chad, you want to give out here tonight?
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out to the teammates, Matt Lacrosse and David Comstock. Those guys had a pretty rough go of it tonight, and hate it for them, especially for Matt, because he was kind of in the title hunt with EJ and myself going into the night. Also, shout out to EJ. I mean, we had a really good battle. I felt like we were putting on a good show for you guys, and Jimmy North as well. He's been off a month, so it's nice to have him back in the seat. And of course, you folks at LSRTV for the awesome job you do for us.
Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate what you guys do on the track week in and week out, Chad. And we'll let you go here. We thank you for taking the time to chat with us, and congratulations on third place finish, and good luck next week in the championship race.
Yeah, hopefully we can put on a good show for you guys.
I'm sure you will. And there you have it. Our third place finisher here tonight at Chicagoland, Chad Cole, the new points leader, but one of the surprising drivers that has really climbed his way up through the point standings over the last few weeks and picking up a big win last week. Tyler Herr, our second place finisher, has caught up with Gabriel.
Down here on the end of pit road with Tyler Herr. Tyler, you caught up so fast to Anthony Navarro in that 9, those last few laps. I'm going to take a quote from you here. I thought you were going to catch him and be Audi 5000 out of here, but you just, as soon as you caught him, he just turned on the jets and pulled away.
Yeah, I tried pulling up to him, and I tried to ride behind him just to save the tires, but in the end there, I was starting to get tight in 3 and 4, and he just maintained, and I was going to mount one last charge, and then the caution flew, and that was it. But second place, I'll take it. It was a great run out there tonight.
Now with this run, we're not really sure how the championship points held out right now. We got the math on the first two guys. You're still fourth. We're getting the points now. You're fourth, 28 points back. If you have a good race there in Homestead, you think you got a chance at the championship?
I know EJ, Chad Cole, and Matt Lacrosse, they're very strong. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to win the race out there and then have all three of them in trouble throughout the entire night, but anything can happen in this series. Realistically, I think I'm pretty good with the top 5 in points for this season, but as I said, anything can happen.
Now, when you started the race, you started in the 21st qualifying position or around there. Tyler, we've seen you got an average qualifying position at 24th, but you've had so many top 5s in the win last week. Did that at all worry you to begin this race?
Not at all. I knew going in I'm not the strongest qualifier, so if I end up mid-pack, that's how it was going to play out. I just take my time, work my way up, but if I started anywhere up closer, that's better, but really my qualifying game isn't up to where it should be right now, but it's not really where I start, it's where I finish, so take that if you will.
All right, Tyler, before we let you go, who gets it done in that 55?
Well, as always, the LSRTV Lymphoma Awareness Laura Lawson Foundation Chevrolet. All the guys down in Aegis. Dave always barking at me to save my tires. Brian, Will, Nick, Stephanie, even though they don't have the best of luck, it seems, right now, but they're still a great group of people to really work with. I'm happy to be a part of them.
Tyler, you got a great group over there. You're one of the best finishing drivers in that Aegis Motorsports camp. Hopefully, you can bring all those guys along because got a lot of talent. But Tyler, you've been the most successful guy, and you've kind of brought Aegis Motorsports along. Congratulations on their very successful season. You got one more chance to get it done. Can't wait to see you in Homestead.
I'm looking forward to it, and I just have to say congratulations to Anthony DeBarro. He really pulled that one off tonight.
That's Tyler Hurry, your second place driver. I believe, Jacob, you've caught up with our winner.
Yeah, I finally made my way to Gatorade Victory Lane, and this is one that I think is very, very long overdue victory celebration. Every vestige of bad luck, everything that could have gone wrong, and finally tonight, Anthony DeBarro, you get something to go right and manage to hold on for a victory. That caution sealed the deal at the end, but had it gone green, did you still have enough to hold off Tyler there in those final couple of laps, even though there was times when it was looking mighty dicey?
Yeah, I think I did. It was pretty tough just hitting your marks and getting the exit speed just so you could get down the straightaways with the lower horsepower of these cars. But overall, it was a good night for us to come back from the incident we had earlier in the race, to drive through the field and stay there when we got there. It was pretty fun. I'd like to thank Boomtown Sim for the car. It was awesome. It made me look good.
All of you guys, it looked like, got caught up in one thing or another, and you were able to work your way back through the field. At one point, I saw you 4 wide on the apron trying to make passes and come back through in that first half of the race once you got caught up in that early caution. How nerve-wracking was that, knowing that, you got to make moves to get back up through there, but there were 2 or 3 times when I saw you just about by the farm with that car.
There was more than 2 or 3 times I thought it was going to be over, but somehow we got through there. And then once I think I got up to about 12th, 10th in that area, everyone started pitted. I short pitted, and I ended up top 5. And then we got those cautions from there out, and we were able to get by Corbin there and keep the lead from there on.
It's a good night next week, even though you're not in the points battle. I know you'd like to really end this on a high and go 2 in a row, maybe win the finale at Homestead. I know Homestead's a track that's cooperated for Boomtown here over the past couple of months. Any chance we see you back up front and close this season off with a win?
I mean, that's the goal of every racetrack we unload the car at. So hopefully we're gonna give it our best shot and just try to get some momentum going into the FTC season, and just keep reeling off good finishes and qualifying strong, and usually they end up good eventually. Like luck will change, like
Well,
it did tonight.
I was going to say it has done that tonight. I know you can't do it by yourself, Anthony. Sponsor shout outs. Who makes it happen for you and the 9 team?
Obviously Boomtown Sim. Everyone give us a like on Facebook and check us out on Twitter. And I wanted to give a shout out to Laura and just let her know everyone's thinking about her and to keep strong for and keep fighting. Other than that, Jacob, you guys at LSRTV, you do a great job, and it's a pleasure working with you.
A pleasure as well seeing you down here in Victory Lane, Anthony. Welcome back, and good to see you get it done. Anthony DeBarro, the winner here tonight from Chicagoland Speedway, and we're going to throw it back upstairs. Andy Kessler, Gabe Wood. Let's take a look at the final Ford full field rundown, shall we?
Yeah, shall we? And we shall. Right here, Anthony DeBarro, you just talked to him, coming up with the big win tonight. Tyler Herr, a big surgeon here in the late going of the season. He comes home in that second spot. Third goes to our championship leader, Chad Cole. Corbin Hemstreet, a good, strong run for him finally in this series this winter. Finishes fourth. Nick Silver comes home with a top 5. Sixth place goes to Mike Kelly. Jonathan Cadell comes home in the 7th spot. Mitch Rollo, a good run for him. Comes in the 8th spot. 9th goes to Scott Eckridge. And E.J. O'Rourke, second in the points now, rounds out the top 10.
Your Full Throttle Cup Series champion from last year, Dwayne Vincent, he falls through the running order late in the race and comes up with an 11th place finish, so it's very disappointing here with 2 races to go. Dan Murray of the Full Throttle, or the Steel Horse Racing Group, comes in home in 12th. Eric Arnold, Jason L. Swan finishes 14th. Nelson Rivera in 15th. Greg Omo, Doug Roth, Nicholas Orth, teammates of Tyler Herr in that 18th position. Dale Reese and Rhett McBride is going to finish out your top 20.
21st tonight is a 69 of William Amaker. David Comstock comes home in that 22nd spot. Last car on the lead lap in 23rd is John Abbott. Jimmy North comes home in that 24th spot. 25th goes to Jeff Ward. William Hartman finishes 26th. And all the rest of these guys here now that I'll mention are out of the race, starting with Daniel Eberhardt coming home in that 27th spot. 28th goes to Matt Lacrosse, and Brian Terry finishes 29th, and 30th goes to J. Randall Watkins.
Christopher Hurlow is going to finish in that 31st position. Bad luck for him. Douglas Wyatt, Stephanie Lessentine, another disappointing finish for that 78 Aegis Motorsports car. She finishes 33rd. Joseph LaPlaca is going to finish 34th. Adam Benefield and Mike Rominger round out your 36 car field.
That's a look at your final Ford Performance Full Field Rundown, powered by Ford Go Further, an official partner of iRacing.com. And as we come to the end of another night, we set up for the finale next Monday here on LSR TV for the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series. Will it be Chad Cole scoring his 3rd championship in 4 years, or will it be E.J. O'Rourke putting his name on the trophy as a first-time series champion? All the storylines going to be answered at 9:30 p.m. Eastern when the two duke it out with the rest of the field as they go for a winner-take-all championship scenario. And it's going to be a fun show. Final thoughts, Andy, on what we've seen tonight, because it was definitely a very fun performance in the closing stages. And Anthony DeBarro, what a comeback from being involved in that early caution to be able to win this deal.
Yeah, he actually picked up a bunch of damage on that early caution, getting into the back of the 21 on Matt Lacrosse. So for him to rebound like that and get the win, it kind of looked at when he got that damage that the bad luck streak was going to continue, but his team did a great job to rebound him up for the win. So, listen, we saw some 3 and 4 wide racing on this racetrack here tonight, and I'm not so sure we'll see the 4 wide action next week at Homestead, but I'm sure 3 wide might be in the cards for these guys. A pretty similar track when it comes to tire wear and the speeds that these guys can carry. So I'm looking forward to it. It's set up to be a fantastic finish with 2 teammates separated only by 3 points now for that title. And you know what? Listen, you bring it all and you leave it all on the racetrack next week. You get yourself a chance to be a champion. And for Chad Cole, I mean, we play the what if scenario all the time. What if he didn't take last season off? We might be talking about a four-time champion 4 straight too, also for Chad Cole. So basically, he's running three seasons, 3 full seasons here in the Icebreaker Series. He has a chance to win his 3rd title.
Yeah, I think that's what's so impressive about it. Cole, in the seasons he's been in, looking to be undefeated. That's going to be the key, and that's going to be the story as we head to South Florida, Homestead, Miami, next Monday night. Right now, though, for Andy Kessler, Gabe Wood, and our producer Cisco Scaramuza behind the glass, for everybody at LSRTV, as well as John Abbott, Brennan Mercer, Jimmy North, and all the fine folk at Real Sim Racing that help us put this show on every single week. I'm Jacob Seelman, reminding you to keep it off the wall until we meet again, and we'll see you next time on the web. Congratulations to your race winner tonight. Anthony DeBarro gets it done, and as we go off air tonight, all of us at LSRTV want to salute our media colleagues at the Motor Racing Network on the loss of longtime booth announcer Barney Hall last week Tuesday. All you guys are in our thoughts and prayers, and as we go off tonight, Barney, this one's for you, my friend. We'll see you in Homestead.